It's Around the House. When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to Around the House with Eric G. and Caroline B. This is the Pro Insider Podcast. This is for all of you in the building trades out there, whether you're a framer, finish carpenter, interior designer, electrician, integrator, plumber, whatever you're doing out there. This episode is for you that we're doing about every other week right now. Just been getting over COVID, so I have been a little slow on getting episodes out, doing every other week, so I do apologize, but we do have some bigger plans, but I'd be honest, I'm just playing catch-up right now, so we will get on with the show here. Now, today's episode is going to refer back to an episode we had last week on the regular Around the House episode. So if you did catch that, I apologize because you're going to hear some of the same stuff here, but it is so important for you out there in the field that I really wanted to make sure that you heard it in this week's Pro Insider. Our friends over at Sashco have really come up with a new and interesting product. If you are a contractor and you are not or have not at least taken a look at the Sashco products, I want to make sure that you're checking it out because I tell you what, I have been using different caulking over the years, and now that I've got some of the Sashco product in my hands, it is a game changer as far as doing stuff on the exterior, even inside the bathroom, anywhere around the house. And this is a really important product because how many of you people out there have been going out, doing a project, you caulk it, and 6 months later, you're back redoing it again, or a year later, you're doing it back again. If you follow these guys and you use their products and use them correctly, you can install that caulking and let it be there for years to come. And as they say, it's going to eliminate those caulkbacks. So think about this. If you can use one product and use it well, and you don't have to mess with it, that's a win for everybody because now you're not having to eat it, your client's not having to pay for it, and you can get on to the next project, and it's one less warranty claim or redo that you have to go out in the field. So this is something to take a peek at. Plus, for the next week here, we've got our giveaway. So we are giving away a $250 Visa gift card that Sashco's giving away, and you can head over to aroundthehouseonline.com or just head over to Sashco's website, which is Sashco, SASHCO.com/ATH, and you can enter for a chance to win a $250 Visa gift card. Heck, that's going to fill up the work truck with gas. And that's pretty rare to be able to get something that'll do that these days. All right, everybody, well, let's go out to Sashco here. And I recorded this live from Design and Construction Week. And I just really wanted to show everybody this one. So I do apologize if you've already heard this episode. But this is one that I think is very important for the people out in the trades out there to take a peek at. Because this episode here really was meant for you guys. Now let's get out to Sashco. Welcome to Around the House with Eric G. and Caroline B., your source for home improvement and construction and design and healthy homes every single weekend. Thanks for joining us. We have got a fun show today. I'm sitting here at Design and Construction Week at the Sashco booth, and we are getting ready to have a good time in here. Let's start with introductions. Dive on in, man.
Good to have you, Eric. I'm Nathan. I'm a marketing manager for Sashco.
You got it.
And it's helpful to understand about me that I'm a bit of a technical guy, right? So I have a chemistry background.
Nice.
So I talk a little bit about, elasticity and modulus of elongation and all that sort of stuff, I like to get a little geeky with my sealants.
I love it. So we're talking sealants here, and of course, we're at this biggest trade show of the year already, and we're having a good time out here. You guys have done some stuff. I mean, we all walk into home centers, you see the aisle of caulking or your lumber yard or whatever, and until I ran into you guys, I didn't realize how bad 99% of the stuff was performing until I ran into what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's incredible that in caulking and in sealants in particular, it seems like the expectation is failure, right? A lot of folks just expect caulks to crack and to fail. And,
dude, how many times
that's a maintenance issue, right?
You walk up to that house, it's like 6 months old, and it's got like the hardy plank on it, and around the edges you can see it like coming off like little plastic worms coming off the side of the house.
That's right. And our mission is to try to combat that, right? We try to delight our customers with a better way of doing caulking and sealing, so you don't have to go back to the job and fix cracked caulking.
Seriously, how many contractors out there that listen to the show right now that love those caulk packs, as you call them?
That's right.
And I mean, it's awesome that you guys have come up with a solution, and now that I've gotten to play around with it a little bit and understand it, there's a lot of science to this.
That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about some of that stuff, because it's amazing how it's working.
Sure. So we like to say that there's really three components that go into making a caulking that has good bond durability, meaning as the house is moving, temperatures are changing and things are moving around a little bit, it's going to stay in the joint.
Yeah.
So first is you need a caulking that has a good elongation factor, right? That means it can move, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be able to move and expand and contract with the joint.
Sounds simple, right?
It sounds simple, but it's something that can get a little out of hand, especially depending on the size of the bead that you use.
Oh, good point. Because some guys in there, well, maybe they didn't miss that cut and make it just exactly as they needed to. And, we'll just caulk it up. It'll be great. And by the time the painters are done, it'll be fine.
Yeah, we're a big fan of big caulk beads, right?
Yeah.
And it's because it's better for the joint, right? So think about like a 16-foot piece of siding, right?
Yeah.
How much would you guess that moves on average?
I'm going to say that's probably an eighth.
An eighth, depending on the type, you're right. If it's vinyl, it could go a half inch,
correct,
right? Depending
easy
on the day. So if you've only got an eighth of an inch gap and it's moving a half inch, you're now asking your sealant to stretch 400%, right? Whereas if you have a quarter inch gap, now you're only asking your sealant to stretch 200%. So
see? That's a big difference.
Can be a big deal if you're using small gaps.
Hadn't thought of that, because you're taking that, and sometimes then they put it too tight and it expands out, and then you see that waved on the side of the house.
That's right.
And that's not good either.
That's not good.
So it's a smart way to think about this. And I hadn't thought of it from that perspective before. It's a percentage of that, because it's always the percentage of the product you're using, right? It's not that it's an eighth inch, quarter inch, or whatever. You need to have that material enough there to do it.
It depends on what's moving, right? What's next to the joint that's moving around.
And we're so good at mixing materials on job sites, depending on where you're at.
That's
you
right.
could have fiber cement siding, you've got a cedar trim going around the outside, or some other plastic trim going on over there too. So you've got expansion rates that are all over the board.
And that's a perfect segue to the second thing out of the three that you need for a high performance sealant, which is good adhesion, right?
Right.
So you can't just stick to concrete. You've got to stick to stucco, you've got to stick to glass, you've got to stick to asphalt roofing. You need good adhesion, or else you're going to get a failure, right? Because instead of the caulking cracking, it's going to peel away from the surface.
And that's the problem. And you have so many things. It could be a piece of metal flashing that you're going up against.
It
could be any of that. And you're in a world of hurt if it's all of a sudden coming off of that, because it's not going to stretch to 200% if there's nothing holding the other side.
That's right. That's right. It's just going to come off.
It's just coming off. It's just flying across there, so you're in trouble.
And you can actually have adhesion that's too good.
Yes.
Too, right? So if you get something that's really got super good hold, which we would usually think is a good thing, but let's say it's on wood, for example, and the sealant fails, and it has super good adhesion, it might actually pull the wood fibers, or if it's on concrete, it might actually pull the concrete out, such that now you're just not just patching a sealant, you're patching the concrete.
I've done this before.
Okay.
I've done this before. I've gone, oh, wow, that didn't work. And you made my work so much harder, because now I got to patch it, finish it, and seal it.
That's right. So we like to think that we find a good blend where it's high, but not too high that you're going to damage your substrate.
Great example. I have a great shower system, and I had a defect in the LCD screen that happens. You know, it's electronics. It happens. Defects happen. I sealed that thing in with the supplied silicone that came with it. The cleanup on the unit was 10 times longer than swapping it out just to get the old stuff on. I'm like, that was excessive, and that was on metal to porcelain.
Yeah, I buy it. And We don't do silicones at Sashco because you can't paint silicones. You
Yep.
can't repair silicones, right? Because the oil migrates into the substrate that you're sealing, and nothing sticks to it, right? And so, that's important when you're talking adhesion.
It is. And so, so many people go, okay, I'm going to use silicone because that's the most durable caulking out there. And then they go to try to paint over it and they try to do other stuff. You guys have a whole brand new system that's new to me. You guys have been owning this for a while. And I tell you what, playing around with these little samples right here are impressive.
Cool. Yeah, we have a couple different technologies. One is an acrylic, like a latex. The other one is a copolymer rubber. And that's the one where you really see the third element of what makes something high performance.
Exactly.
Which is the low tensile strength.
Oh my gosh, this is the key right here.
This is the key. So even if you have something that can stretch, right? It has good elongation.
Yeah.
If it's under stress when it's stretching, that's a problem.
Like a rubber band.
Exactly.
The more you stretch it, the more tension there is.
Exactly.
And the more it's trying to pull away from everything else that's holding it.
Totally. So with the copolymer rubber that we use, it actually relaxes when you stretch it. So you can stretch it about 600, 700% of its original length. But when you stretch it, it's not actually under stress. It's relaxed in the joint, so you can do it over and over and over, year after year, and you won't get cracking.
It's like a mind trick. Think of a rubber band that you grab. Let's say you have a 3/8 piece of section of caulking right there, and you grab it. There's a little tension when you pull on it, but it's like a rubber band that goes, oh, we're good. We're going to go back to its original state while you're holding it at that distance.
That's right.
So you stretch it, and it goes, oh, no, we're cool, man. We're cool. We're just going to chill out. So that stretches out, and you don't have that surface tension that's trying to pull off the substrate that you're trying to caulk.
That's right. We've been demoing it here in the booth, and people always have their mind blown a little bit, and they always ask the same question: is that going to go back to its original shape?
Yep.
And it does, by the way.
Just
it does.
kind of slowly works its way back.
That's right.
But nothing's expanding that or contracting that fast in your house anyway.
That's right.
So that like tenth of a second, 1 second, 2 seconds doesn't matter because nothing's moving that fast.
Totally.
And that's the cool part about that. And it's like a Jedi mind trick stuff. It's kind of cool.
May the force be with you.
Exactly. But is that one of the things that you guys are most known for? Is that product there, or how does that work within all your brands of stuff?
Yeah, so we're probably most known for Big Stretch and Lexcel. So Lexcel, and then another companion product in the same family, Through the Roof, are both in that solvent-based copolymer rubber family.
Yep.
Through the Roof is for roofing, gutters. You can use it on your pipe jacks, ceiling.
All that good stuff. Any of that stuff up there, good for repairs too, skylights, all that stuff when you're up there working around.
You can tamp down shingles with it. Lexcel is truly our use anywhere product, right? So I've
used that before, actually. So
really?
So I've done it. It was great. It's been a while since I used it. It was probably a year or so ago. I had a contractor buddy throw me some, and that's the one product that I've used of yours before we got reintroduced by Cheryl here, a few months ago.
Awesome.
But that is a cool product.
It's super cool. It comes in a clear tube, so you can see how clear it is. And so it's going to start clear, and it's going to stay clear for you, even when it's outside, exposed to UV and all that.
How many times do you see the clear caulking come out, and you're like, I hope that's clear that's in the tube? And it's white, or it's milky, or it's whatever, and you hope that it gets that way. That's that, and there is no question what you have that you're working with.
That's right. There are a few technologies, right? So urethanes and acrylics that can start kind of milky and can work their way to cure towards a clear.
Yeah.
And theoretically they should get there, but there are things that can interfere with that, right? If you've got a lot of moisture in the air, for example, the urethane might not get there. The acrylics are pretty good, but with Lexcel you don't have to worry about that. You can put it on wet in the middle of a rainstorm. We're demoing that at the booth where we put it on underwater. It displaces the water.
See?
And then once the water's gone, it'll cure up, and you'll have waterproof seal.
I am the first person to admit that when I can caulk something like a shower, and it says wait 8 to 24 hours before getting wet.
Yeah.
That usually translates to me about 4.5 to 6. And then I go, I wonder why that didn't work so well. I kind of get in a hurry sometimes, like a lot of people.
Yep. Lexel will solve that problem for you.
And see, that's what's cool about that. I'm not having to wait because I'll be honest, not everybody has multiple showers in the house or anything like that when you're doing stuff. Or you're working outside and you're cranking along and you're like, oh man, it's going to rain in 3 or 4 hours. Is that good enough?
Exactly. And the answer is always, it depends, right? Because it's not just temperature, it's humidity. Is the sun out?
Yep.
It's what's the wind doing? Do you have some air movement going on? So it's virtually impossible to predict, even though you get a range that's like, it's 2 to 4 hours, somewhere in there.
Oh, it's like when I was out painting my house here this last fall. I'm out painting, everything's going good. It's a little overcast, but it's about 70 degrees. All of a sudden, I can feel the mist coming on, and I'm like, oh no.
What kind of paint were you using?
Latex.
Okay.
But and I'm painting my house black at that time, and I'm like, oh, is this going to be a gray run down the side? I barely got lucky. It just had misted for a little bit, but I was like, but that's the kind of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
That's real life job site stuff.
Yeah, and with a lot of technologies, you'll be in trouble there, right? If you're using a urethane or a silicone or a hybrid, and you get some moisture in the air, that's going to affect the cure. It can actually cure too fast, which can give you adhesion issues. And
absolutely.
So both Lexel and Through the Roof, and then our family of acrylics, the big stretches, more flexes of the world are going to be fine.
You guys are really involved, I love, in the building trades out there. You guys are really working with those contractors, remodelers, builders out there to get the product out there, which I think is cool. What are all you guys doing to help those guys out? I see a lot.
Sure. So we have a few initiatives to help try to add value to the industry in general, right? So one of the easiest ones is tools to help sell the products, right? So we actually give folks little demo kits such that they can go up to the homeowners and say, hey, check this out. Even down to the sealants, the accessory products in my house, I'm using high performance materials, which is why you should go with my bid, not the cheapest bid.
No.
Right?
Yeah. Because, then you get these little cool little worm thingies, which are actually the sealants to show them that, there it is right there.
All right, a little bead of caulking.
A little bit of caulking to show how that works, which is awesome.
It's super cool. And we also provide courses for folks who kind of want to take their sealant game to the next level. We also have a whole division that does log home products.
That's
so
cool.
Chinking and staining.
Yeah, that's a big deal in my neck of the woods up in the Pacific Northwest.
Sure. And so there's a lot involved when you're blasting and all that sort of stuff. So we take folks through a whole course. It's a couple days where one day is product focused, whether it be log homes or sealants, and the next day is actually business focused, right? So most people in our space like to be on the job. They like to be working and building. They don't necessarily like to be a CEO or an accountant, and you have to do that stuff, right? And so we try to provide resources for that and too, to truly build a business and really to build a culture, right? Right now it's hard to retain employees, right? So how can you build a culture as a builder to maintain your employees and make it a place that they want to go to work every day?
That is one of the biggest challenges I see in construction out there, is that you've got guys sniping each other right off the back of the other guy's truck, you know? Boom, 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 boom. Up, now he's working over here. And so there's a lot of competition for that good quality workforce.
Yeah. The last initiative that I'll mention that where we're trying to kind of give back to the building space is we're trying to build some partnerships right now to really focus on educating folks that the trades is a good path, right?
Yeah.
That you can make a great living, you can have fun, it's rewarding work. And so we're partnering up with various different folks like Bloomquist, for example, that has a school and is teaching kids how to build houses, and it's really cool work. So
I got to make an introduction to you. I've got a charity that I work with in my town, and they're going across the country, but it's girls built, and so they take girls from 8 to 14 and they do summer camps to get them in the trade. So they'll have And who got him? Katie has gotten things started really well.
Good.
But Mike Rowe turned around and got him a trailer and stuff like that because she was running out of an old school bus.
That's awesome.
And so he came in and did that Mike Rowe Gives Back and got her going there. And so I've been working with them for a number of years. But I'll have to make the introduction because there's so many great programs out there.
We'd love that.
To get the kids going, and it's a good solid one. And they're just a great organization. And I'm happy you guys are doing stuff out there because there's such a need out there to find that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So tell me a little bit more about Sashco, because you guys have some amazing products, including, which we'll get into, that bathroom caulking is pretty cool too.
Cool.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll talk about some cool products. We've been around for 85 years. We're family owned, so our current owner's dad started the company.
How cool is that?
And he was doing window glazing putties, and it's evolved into sealants, and then the log home division.
Nice.
We have way too much fun at work, right?
I know you guys do. Every time I come over here, you guys are having a blast.
That's right. It's family owned, right? And so we're allowed to manage to what we think is best rather than kind of managing to the quarter or whatever it is. We're all one company, right? So right now with issues with labor and stuff like that, if someone gets sick, can't come to work, I go back. Our president goes back into manufacturing, which is in the same building, and he's filling tubes, right on the manufacturing line. And I think that's a really cool thing, right? So
don't see that too often.
One family, truly.
Yeah.
So it's just a fantastic place to work. I think a fantastic partner too, right? We're transparent with our vendors, with our suppliers, and we have a lot of fun nerding out about sealants.
Dude, and you think sealants, what all can you talk about? But seriously, I mean, I want to run down the line here of the products, because your stuff that as a designer, I'm like,
yeah.
And somebody that's been a kitchen and bath designer as well, I'm like, why wasn't I using that 20 years ago?
Sure. So let me tell you about some of my favorites.
Okay,
right?
let's go down that list.
We have a full line designed for every application from chimney to foundation.
Yep.
One of the coolest products I think we have is Exact Color. Okay?
This is one of my faves.
That's cool. So if you know Big Stretch, it's similar, but it's basically a caulk without any pigment.
Okay.
You add the pigment. So
that's cool.
It's got some empty space in the tube, and we give you a little plunger to take some water-based paint out of whatever paint you're using. Could be a metallic, could be a stain, could inside, outside, and you dispense that into the cartridge, and you shake it up. Now, that probably sounds difficult, but we thought of that. We make the caulk in the cartridge thin, right? So it's like water thin, so you can shake it up, get a good mix. Then we give you a thickener. So
there we go. There's the secret.
There we go, yeah. So you add the thickener in, you shake that up, and you can wait 30 minutes, you can wait 24 hours, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a perfect match to whatever paint you're using every time.
Oh, man. Homeowners out there, contractors, I know somebody's jaw's hitting the ground right now going, what? I'm not trying to figure out. I'm not going over to the tile supplier trying to find something that makes it work. And you're like, yeah, but I got paint on one side. I got another product on the other side that I want to match, but I don't want to do a silicone that's going to be used in the shower because I can't ever paint that wall again right there.
That's right. Yeah, it's a perfect match every time. And, no dealing with fan decks and trying to match it up to the cartridge that's in the store or something. It's perfect every time.
And then you get home and use it and go, well, that wasn't right.
Right.
It's so many times I'm picking the lesser of the two evils. Well, that's horrible. Well, it's not so bad.
It's an accent caulk.
Yeah, exactly. So you just came up with a new term. That's an accent caulk. I meant to do that.
Right.
That is awesome. And then let's keep going down the line, because, man.
Sure. So Clean Seal is a cool one.
This is trick, too.
So Clean Seal is like Big Stretch.
Yep.
But it has enzymes in it that break down this food source for mold.
No mold if you don't have a food source there.
That's right. And this is actually different than how pretty much any other product on the market does it, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of caulks and sealants and paints and coatings out there that kill mold, right? So they have something in there that's designed to kill mold. Clean Seal doesn't actually do that. But with those other products, if you spill something on the surface, like let's say applesauce or something like that, the mold can grow on the food.
Correct.
Right? So it's not growing on the caulk, it's growing on the food.
But you still have mold.
You still have mold. Clean Seal is going to break down the food source. So the applesauce in this case, or the oils from your body in the shower, whatever it is, such that there's no food source. So now you don't have mold.
Brilliant. And you're not putting something crazy toxic in there that's trying to kill something.
That's right. They're bio-based enzymes, and they don't get used up either.
Oh, that's even better.
Because it's an enzyme, it's just kind of latches on, turns these lipids into basically a soap that washes away.
Like a little Pac-Man soap machine.
Like a little Pac-Man. We've been thinking we should do a little animation, Pac-Man thing.
Except they'd sue you.
Maybe not quite
Pac-Man. Yeah, that's it's kind of like Star Wars. I got to be careful with that too.
Right. You gonna edit out that earlier?
No, we're gonna go with it.
Okay.
It'll make a good news story when I make it. So.
Oh, perfect.
But that's the thing. I mean, that is something that is so interesting to me from a healthy standpoint of having an enzyme versus some other chemical in there that's trying to do something else, and that's just super smart.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I don't know if anybody else is doing that.
I don't think so. It's a new to world technology that's pretty cool.
That's cool. And then, man, again, I've got a whole table of this stuff sitting right next to me, and I'm just looking at it while we're talking.
Let me give you at least two more.
Yeah, give me at least two more.
So Moreflex.
Yep.
Is a mortar and stucco repair product. Okay. So what happens when mortar cracks? What do you got to do?
You got to chip it out, clean it up, try to match some kind of mortar in there that's going to look halfway decent, and mix it all up, put it in there. It's quite the process to get in there and clean that up.
You got powder flying in your face. You got to clean buckets. You got to
silica
trowel
dust,
it in.
right?
And at the end of all of that, you had a spot that was stressed, right? That's why it cracked and the mortar fell out. So it's probably just going to crack on you again, right?
So true.
So forget all of that, right?
No Band-Aid, right? I mean, you're just Band-Aiding it because next year you're going to come back after that. Whatever moved, you're not fixing the moving problem. You're just fixing the symptom of the moving problem.
That's right. So Moreflex is a sealant that's textured to look like mortar or stucco.
Ooh.
So you just throw it in a caulk gun. You gun it into the joint, you tool it, and you're done. And it's flexible. It's going to stretch like rubber, like all of our products. And so when you get that stress, instead of popping out like a mortar patch, it's going to move with the joint.
Because what happens is when you go in there, you and this always happens with mortar. You go in there, you clean it up, so it makes it even bigger. You want to get enough so you can get the mortar in there, and then it moves again, and now you have a bigger hole than you did last time when it broke.
That's right.
It just kind of keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This, you put a flexible thing in there that's going to move with things and stay adhered, and you've solved the problem.
That's right. Let me tell you about one more.
All right.
So this is a new product. It's not even on the market yet.
Okay.
So it's coming. Woo-hoo. It's coming probably in April, early spring here.
Okay.
And it's from our log home division.
All right.
Okay? So right now, when you're staining a log home, you need to color match.
Sure.
Right. And that can be a problem because most log homes are not next to your lumber yard, right?
Never.
They're in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you run out or you don't have enough or your color's, off or something
you're
like
in
that,
trouble.
You got to hike a couple hours back. You got to get new products. So we're actually launching Flex Tint, which is a system where you tint up a 5-gallon pail of log home stain with a caulking cartridge.
What?
So you got to carry less inventory around with you when you're doing this. You can tint whatever, you use the right base and you tint up whichever color you need right on site. So instead of carrying around a 5-gallon pail of every color you need, you're just carrying around a cartridge.
You'd be driving around with a van full of 5-gallon buckets and a hazardous material placard on the side.
Exactly.
And now you can have one and a bunch of cartridges.
We're pretty excited about it.
That is a game changer, my friend.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool for those who are in log homes. They hopefully they already know Sashco. We're fairly well known in that industry. But yeah, we love doing chinking and staining on log homes.
Yeah. And now we're going to be talking about a giveaway for a minute here, which is super cool. I was just talking to the other members of the family team over here.
Sure.
So we've got a giveaway for a $250 gift card.
That's right.
This is going to be cool. Who doesn't want gift cards, right?
I'd like a gift card.
I'd like a gift card as well.
I don't know if you and I can qualify those.
We do not.
Okay, let's
But
clear
still,
the air.
it's cool. And so that's pretty awesome. So you're going to have to head over to sashco.com/ATH over there.
That's right.
That's where you'll find over there. And if you're listening to the podcast a few weeks after this is going to last for 2 weeks. So you'll see the date over there. When that's gone, it's gone. So this is a 2-week giveaway. So let's make sure that if you're listening to this and it's like June of 2022, guess what? Sorry.
That's right.
Didn't make it.
But there are a couple other perks, right? So they can enter to win the gift card.
Yep.
But you can also reach out to our customer service team if you're interested in learning more about our products. They're all part of the family, so they know just as much as I do about the various products and how things work. You can get some samples to look at your next job. So we'd love folks to come visit and win a gift card too.
Absolutely. Man, I am seeing some people in the booth. I see from Fine Home Building, I see Mike Gerton over there. We have got some rock stars here in the booth looking at your stuff today.
It's been busy. It's been a good show. We had Matt Reisinger earlier today.
Yep.
The Perkins brothers stopped by yesterday. Travis from Catalyst Built is coming out tomorrow. So it's keeping us rocking and rolling here.
Absolutely. This place, what's the show been for you guys? You just overall been pretty impressed with what you're seing? I've
been very impressed. I was a little uncertain, just given the times, what the attendance would be like. We've been rocking and rolling.
No question. I've been over on that my home technology zone stage over there, and we have been just jam-packed with people over there. And usually I have to look at it and think of it in two different ways, because there's seating there and there's people walking around all the time. So at mealtime, I'm always out there going, how many people are using this as their dining room table? Are you there really for the talk? But it's been really good.
What's the best question you've had so far the whole convention?
Oh, that's a good one. We were doing a home tech seminar about home tech.
Okay.
And talking about smart home hubs. And a guy was trying to understand his level of technology knowledge. He was trying to figure out how to say Samsung.
Okay.
We had a hill to climb.
I guess I can envision it.
Samsung, 60-year-old white gentleman, a little bit of white hair in there, and he's like, Samsung? I'm like, Samsung? Oh, is that how you say it? What's this? We're talking about smart home hubs, and he goes, what's this hub smart thing? And I'm like, all right, let's step back and get into 101. But that's why I'm here. It's an education part of it.
We get that with Lexel all the time. People come up to us and they say, oh, I love Lexel. Lexel, that's my favorite. And we say, it's like Lexcellent, Lexel. You excel at doing things.
Absolutely.
Just with an L,
So what's the craziest question you've had so far?
Craziest question.
I know, it's tough, right?
That is tough.
I'm going to stump you on one. I know. See?
I get a lot of questions about our Cobra nozzle.
Okay.
We've got a lot of folks who like Lexel or Through the Roof and struggle to tool it.
Gotcha.
Okay, because it sticks to everything.
Yeah.
Including your finger.
Of course.
So we have a nozzle that is already cut to a 90 or to a 45 degree angle.
Awesome.
That gives you a horizontal bead for lap joints so that you don't have to tool it.
Cool.
But I'm going to give you another secret.
Okay.
So the secret to tooling Lexel is just a little bit of clear window cleaner on your finger.
See, this is my secret for caulking.
It is? You already knew this? Okay.
But the stuff that I always use is the spray can foam stuff. You know, it's like the Spray Bright stuff that I've always used.
I get you.
Yep.
Well, we've had some people here who don't believe me, and I didn't actually bring any. So I said, okay, I'm going to show you. What we did is we used some hand sanitizer that we had in the booth.
There we go.
Works just the same. And
it's a surfactant,
they
right?
believe me after that. That's right. It's a surfactant. So it'll do a great job smoothing out Lexcel. And you won't have Lexcel on your hand all day.
And the reason why he says clear, because this is something that I learned from another rep friend of mine who's a tile expert, and you want to use the clear because if you've got a famous blue window cleaner and you want to have a very clear line with a very clear caulking, you don't need to add any blue to the mix.
That's right. This is like caulking 301. This is next level. This is awesome. So you won't see it on every color, but if you've got a good clear that's really optically clear, you'll get a blue tint to it if you use that
Exactly.
Famous name brand.
It's a famous name brand.
So make sure you get the clear stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and it's these are tricks that I learned fairly recently, you know.
Awesome.
And I'm like, and so I actually did a video on it a couple years ago, and people were like, that actually works? I'm like, yeah, try it. Didn't believe me.
And by the way, it works on water-based caulks too.
It does too.
It does too. And they're already pretty easy to smooth, but you glide like butter over those.
Well, what's funny is I actually like using the non-water-based caulks better now because it tools up better than because the water-based stuff breaks it gets too smeary.
Depending on what you're using, we need to have you try Big Stretch after this.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your products. I'm talking about maybe some of these other guys that have 3 letters that end with a P.
Oh, okay.
Is what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
No shade thrown, but I'm just saying my experience, those tend to get a little watery.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's my deal. So you guys have some great products coming up here. Is there something that we missed talking about today?
Let's see. We talked Clean Seal. We talked Moreflex. So slab is a lot like Moreflex, but it's for concrete, right? So patching up driveways, sidewalks, stuff like that.
That's a huge deal because in my area, those sidewalks and driveways, we get enough rain. And you get enough water going through that slab, it starts to undermine underneath there and years and years and years of high rainfall. Especially on an older place that wasn't really, that base wasn't prepped right beneath it. That's why there's all those big cracks in it.
That's right.
You can get a little more life out of it.
That's right. There's 2 more products that we haven't really talked about. So I mentioned Through the Roof.
Yep.
But just in case folks haven't heard of it, that's for roofing. You can put it on when it's wet. It'll displace the water and cure after the water evaporates or runs down, the roof.
Yeah.
Use it on any roofing surface. It's going to have good adhesion, whether it's metal, tile, shake, doesn't matter.
That's awesome.
And then the often forgot about product, I call it the accessory to the accessory, right? Because you're not usually thinking about the caulking. Sometimes you have to go back afterwards to get that. Is backer rod. Right? So we do provide filler rope and backer rod such that if you have a big joint, there's 2 things that does for you, right? First off, it saves you money because you don't have to put a ton of caulking in the joints, right? You can put some backer rod and then put the caulking in.
Backer rod is less expensive than a tube of caulking is.
That's right. It'll help
it's a big difference.
It'll help it go further.
Well, but it also gives it support behind it too. So not only are you saving money, but you end up having a better job when it's all said and done.
That's right. So we like to say it serves as a bond breaker. So when you're putting a sealant down, you really only want adhesion on 2 sides, right? Because when you're playing with the demo strips that we're showing folks and you're stretching it back and forth, if you have adhesion on a 3rd side, then you're forcing the caulk to stretch on one side, but it can't stretch on that 3rd side. You're naturally going to have some concavity and you're going to get a crack.
That makes sense because, there's no place to stretch. It would be like it's like pulling a rubber band 3 different ways.
Kind of, yes.
It doesn't work well.
Yes. And so if you have something to break the bond on that 3rd surface, like a backer rod, then you'll actually have a joint that lasts longer.
That's awesome. I've used them before when I got into those situations where it's like, okay, this is the right application for it. But I hadn't thought that's with the right application. I hadn't thought about it being that surface break back there where you're not having to worry about it, but it needs to have support as well.
Totally.
Man, see, I'm learning stuff today too, and I love that.
That's
I love
good.
it,
We're
man.
glad you're here.
Absolutely. That's what this is about. Well, I can't wait till hopefully one of these days I can get out and see you guys out there and cruise out to come see you.
That'd be awesome. We're north of Denver.
Cool.
Which is why we care about temperature fluctuations so much, right? Because it gets hot and it gets very, very cold.
So these guys in our listeners in the Denver area, this is where.
That's right. Come on out and see us and, experience the family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look for one of our training days. That'd be super fun.
See, there we go.
You'd be more than welcome.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, man. Well, I'm just trying to think. We've got everything, haven't we? We've kind of talked about all the cool stuff, and now I want to get over here and play with this stuff a little bit more because you got some cool stuff.
We should do some demos.
There we go.
Yeah.
Put me to work, aren't you?
That's right. We'll have you man in the booth.
Yeah. Oh, man, another booth demand.
You are doing that, though, in the building zone, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been over there
You
all
were
day.
using some big stretch, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
What's funny, we were doing stuff. We had a lot of, the building trade show booths are interesting because for us, we have to build something that has to hold up and look beautiful for 3 days, but not make it where it's like 10 days to take back down again.
Yeah.
And for somebody that loves to overbuild and do it right, it's kind of hard going, that's the right way to do it. Can I put 4 more nails in this? No, well, they got to take it back down again.
Right. I'm with you. I've done some of those classes where we build a roof, and it's like, okay, you're going to build it, and then you're going to tear it apart so we can put a different style roof on it. So I'm totally with
rough.
you.
It's just rough. It just drives me insane when we see that. It's like, and the sad thing about, and I'm not to be negative on this, the stuff that gets thrown away out of these places is great. Our stuff is actually going to get recycled, which I love.
Cool.
We're about one of the only people out here. You guys are very self-contained, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But a lot of these other stages, they just go, and they get hauled out of here.
We like to joke that we picked a very small piece of the house. We only get about a 1/4 inch of the house, where some of the booths here, they get the whole thing.
Absolutely. Is there anything around here? I know you've been in the booth. Is there anything out here that you've seen that you went, wow, that was crazy?
I've been mostly manning the booth.
Thought so.
I did think it was cool that Huber was launching their new underlayment.
Cool.
Right? So for the zip system, new little ice and water shield. So that was interesting.
See?
I'm gonna go learn more about that. If
Go
I can.
play that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, for more information, people can go over to Sashco.com, which is SASHCO.com. If you want to sit there and try to win the $250 for one of our current podcast listeners over there, head over to Sashco.com/ETH. That ETH, if I have to explain it, is around the house, ETH.
That's right.
And bigger thing is, if you forgot about that, if you need to check in the show notes down below, if you're listening to the podcast, if you're listening to the radio, head over to Around the House Nation or AroundTheHouseOnline.com, our website. You can check it on social media. It's going to be all over. That way we'll remind you. Because who doesn't want $250, right?
I'd like $250, and I'd like someone else to have it.
Absolutely. We'll get it out to one of you guys out there. So, but here's the one thing I'll promise you. If you don't enter, there's like no chance of winning.
It'd be impressive.
Absolutely. Nathan, thanks for coming on today, man.
Awesome
I appreciate
to be
it.
on, Eric.
This has been great, guys. Hey, make sure you treat everybody in the household nicely. I tell you what, this has been one of those days. I have had so much fun with so many different people out here. It has been wonderful in our current climates out here to have so many people that are competitors, friends, having a good time out here. This has been such a breath of fresh air for our entire industry. A lot of people working together out here, and it's been great.
It's been super fun. We'll be at JLC too, so come see us if
There
you're
we
hearing
go.
this
Yeah.
and you missed us this time. And yeah,
There'll always be more.
that's right.
All right, I'm Eric G, and for Caroline B, you've been listening to Around the House.
Somewhere unseen and undiscovered, anywhere beyond the mean. Life is a love song, let's be lovers. We're all over the radio.